don't need Congressman Case standing opposite me to talk about my record and my position on the issues.
The political jabs got a little sharper tonight as Dan Akaka and Ed Case went one-on-one in the race for the Senate.
In perhaps the most important moment of the campaign, the two men sparred not just over the issues, but over who has the right personality for Washington. Good evening, I'm Akaka.
And I'm Kim Janala. Two candidates, just one U.S. Senate seat up for grabs. Did the debate sizzle or fizzle? We'll talk about that in just a bit, but first, we start our team coverage with KGMB9's Lisa Kubota.
Kim, after all the hype and anticipation came tonight's U.S. Senate showdown. The Democratic candidates faced off in a live one-hour televised debate. Case and Akaka supporters spent the afternoon sign-waving outside PBS Hawaii. Congressman Case arrived in high spirits.
I intend to say why I believe I'm a better choice for the United States Senate. That doesn't have to be confrontational, but it will be direct.
Senator Akaka also greeted his sign wavers, but didn't have much to say before the debate. Senator, how are you feeling?
Feeling great.
Feeling fine.
I had a good day, a restful one.
Inside, workers finished up last-minute touches.
The main thing for us is that the candidates express themselves clearly on the issues and that people come away with a greater sense of where people stand.
Once the event began, Akaka said he was glad to be taking part in an AARP debate because of the older members.
Nor do I have to apologize for the more deliberate speed of my words, because it's not seen as a handicap, but rather a sign of thoughtfulness and care.
This campaign and my candidacy have never been about age. They have always been about transition. It's a difficult issue for us to talk about here in Hawaii, but we do have two U.S. senators who are nearing the end of their careers.
Among the topics tonight, tax cuts, health care, and the war in Iraq.
Senator Akaka has misstated my views. I don't support a permanent occupation of Iraq, and I don't support an indefinite status quo commitment. The question is not whether to disengage, but how and under what circumstances.
I'm calling for the withdrawal of troops from Iraq by July 2007, and I'm doing it because I feel that we must put pressure on the Iraqi government.
Case has been challenging Akaka to future debates.
I wish we could go on tonight and in other joint events. That would help your choice and be good for democracy. But unless Senator Akaka changes his mind, that's all the time we've got together before you decide.
What takes place on the floor, public debates, come only after the real work of deliberation, communication, and compromise have occurred.
In the end, the two shook hands and hugged. Now it's up to the voters. Now, after the forum, each candidate reflected on their performance.
I've done it. I wanted to answer the call from my constituents, and tonight I feel that I did it, and I want to spend the rest of the time working directly with people instead of doing it with a debate.
One of the things that I wanted to do was to address what I believe has been a pretty deliberate mischaracterization of my positions over months now. I think clearly many people out there want to talk about Iraq, and I wanted to talk about Iraq. I wanted to say what I thought about Iraq and what was the way forward, so that opportunity was great.
Now, while Case says he'd like to face Akaka again before the primary, this was likely the only chance for voters to debate. Lisa Kubota, KGMB9 News.
Thanks a lot, Lisa.
Tonight's forum covered a wide range of issues, including the privatization of Social Security and boosting military recruitment.
One question also came up about the so-called Akaka bill, which failed to pass in Congress this session.
The American Indians have that recognition, the Alaskan Natives have that recognition, and the Hawaiians should have that recognition also. I will continue to strive to move it forward.
But I do believe in some form of autonomy for Native Hawaiians within Hawaii, similar to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs and the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. For now, I believe this issue is best left in the Native Hawaiian community.
All right, you've heard all that. Let's have some straight talk now about tonight's forum from KGMB9 political analyst Dan Boylan.
He's a political columnist for Midweek and a history professor at the University of Hawaii West Oahu. Dan, thanks a lot for joining us.
My pleasure.
Do you think there were really any surprises tonight?
There were no surprises in regard to issues, I don't think, but I think there was a surprise in a lot of people's minds in the manner in which the deportment of the two. Senator Akaka's people wanted one debate, and after this they're not going to meet again, and I think you could see why tonight. Congressman Case said this was about transition, it wasn't about age, and yet tonight I think age was an issue. Senator Akaka was halting, sometimes painfully looking after his notes. Ed Case, of course, a 53-year-old lawyer, was pretty sharp, pretty quick throughout the session. The two good moments, really good moments that the senator had were in the opening and the end, where his warmth and his Hawaiianness comes out, and that's something that he is proud of, and we are all proud of, I think.
Okay, how about high points for each candidate?
Well, as I just said, I think everything between the opening and the ending belonged to Ed Case. And the problem was that the senator was so halting at times that he didn't get to his issues. His big issue is, I'm more of a Democrat than Ed Case is. And sometimes that wasn't clear because of the halting nature of his delivery.
It wasn't a cutthroat debate.
No, I think Ed Case held back, to tell you the truth,
yeah.
from what has happened in some of his ads and so on. I think he held himself back.
Do you actually think anybody won this debate? Won viewer?
Yes.
Voters, actually?
Yes. I think if you were in doubt on the age issue, if you were in doubt about competency, say, to deal in the body, that some folks might very well have said, well, I think it's time for a change.
Interesting. Any chance we'll get another debate, you think?
I don't think we'll get another debate, but watch the Akaka people. They're going to spend a lot more time on issues over the next 3 weeks and trying to point out the differences between themselves, and they're also going to tie Ed Case as firmly as they can to a Republican who's not very popular right now, named George W. Bush.
Yeah, well, the primary is about 23 days away now, so lots of time still to develop the campaign either way. Thanks a lot.
Dan, we are honored to have you with us throughout all of our campaign coverage, so thank you very much.
Thanks for being with us. Don't forget